You don't remember what they said. You remember how the room felt when they said it. You don't remember the exact words of the argument. You remember the specific silence that came after, the kind that had a weight to it, a texture, a temperature. You don't remember what someone told you on a good day years ago, but you remember exactly how you felt standing next to them, like you were finally in the right place at the right time. Most people around you seem to move through conversations and forget them. They recall facts, dates, sentences. But you carry the emotional residue of experiences long after the details have faded. A song comes on and you are suddenly back inside a feeling you haven't visited in years. A smell, a quality of light in the afternoon. Something small and specific pulls you into an emotional memory, so complete it feels like stepping back into a room you never fully left. And sometimes people look at you strangely when you say, "I don't remember exactly what you said, but I remember exactly how it made me feel." Psychology says that is not a flaw in your memory. That is a feature of a very specific kind of mind. Stay with me, because what we are about to uncover explains something fundamental about the way you experience the world, and why the people in your life often have no idea how deeply you are actually affected by them. Your memory does not work the way most people think memory works. For decades, psychologists assumed that memory was primarily about information, that we store experiences the way a camera stores footage, and that better memory meant more accurate recall of facts and details. But neuroscientist Dr. Joseph Ledoux changed that understanding entirely. His research on the emotional brain found that the amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for processing emotion, has a direct and powerful connection to the hippocampus, which is where memories are formed and stored. What this means is that emotion is not just something that accompanies a memory. Emotion is the filing system your brain uses to decide what gets remembered and how strongly. High emotion equals deep encoding. Low emotion equals shallow storage. This is why you can forget an entire conversation, but remember precisely how you felt during it. Your brain wasn't failing to record the words. Your brain was doing something far more sophisticated. It was recording the meaning, the emotional truth of the experience, the thing beneath the thing that was said. And here is what makes your mind different from most. Research on sensory processing sensitivity shows that people with this trait, and it affects roughly 15 to 20% of the population, have nervous systems that process emotional information more deeply and more completely than the norm. Where most people feel the surface of an experience, you feel its texture, its weight, its implication. Your amygdala responds more strongly. Your emotional encoding runs deeper. This means your emotional memories are not just more vivid, they are more complete, more layered, more true to what actually happened beneath what was said. You are not misremembering, you are remembering more than most people ever capture. But here is where your history comes in, because this kind of emotional memory doesn't develop in a vacuum. Think back to the environments that shaped you. Maybe words in your home were not always reliable. Maybe someone said one thing and meant another. Maybe love was expressed in words but withdrawn in actions. Maybe you learned early that what people said and what people felt were two very different things, and that paying attention to the feeling was the only way to know the truth. So your brain adapted. It stopped trusting the surface and started reading underneath it. It became extraordinarily good at registering the emotional current beneath every interaction. The tension in a pause, the warmth behind an ordinary sentence, the specific coldness of being spoken to in the right words with entirely the wrong energy. You became fluent in a language most people don't even know exists. Psychologists call this heightened emotional attunement, and it is one of the most sophisticated forms of social intelligence that exists. But it comes with a cost that nobody talks about. When your memory is primarily emotional, misunderstandings become harder to resolve. Someone says, "I never said that," and they are right. They never said those exact words. But they created a feeling, and that feeling was as real as any sentence. More real, perhaps, because you felt it with your whole nervous system, and you carry it long after they have moved on. This is the quiet burden of emotional memory. Not that you remember too much, but that you remember differently. And the world is largely built for people who remember facts not feelings. Now here is where honesty matters. There are two versions of emotional memory and they feel almost identical from the inside. The first is a gift. A person whose deep emotional encoding means they experience relationships with extraordinary richness. They remember the warmth of a moment years later with perfect fidelity. They know when something is wrong before anyone has said a word. Their emotional memory makes them deeply empathic, deeply present, and almost impossible to deceive. The second carries a shadow. A person whose emotional memories from painful experiences are so vividly encoded that old feelings bleed into new situations. They feel something in a present moment and cannot always tell whether they are responding to what is actually happening or to the echo of something that happened long ago. Ask yourself honestly, when a feeling comes up strongly in a relationship, do you check whether the feeling belongs to this moment? Or do you sometimes notice that the feeling is older than the situation that triggered it? Because that distinction matters. And paying attention to it is one of the most important things a person with your kind of memory can do. Here is what I want you to know. The fact that you remember feelings more than words does not mean your memory is worse than other people's. It means your brain has been prioritizing what actually matters. Words can be chosen carefully. Feelings cannot be faked. Not from your nervous system's perspective. Not from yours. You are the person in the room who knows when something is true and when something is merely being said. That is not a small thing. In a world where people have become extraordinarily skilled at saying the right words with the wrong intentions, your ability to feel the difference is one of the rarest and most valuable things about you. The people who remember feelings, not words, are often the ones who love most completely, because they are not responding to the performance of a relationship. They are responding to its actual emotional reality. And that kind of attention, that depth of presence, is something most people spend their whole lives wishing someone would give them. You already give it, naturally, without trying. Remember that the next time someone makes you feel like your memory is the problem. In the comments, tell me, what is one feeling you still carry from a moment you can no longer remember the details of? Just one. You don't have to explain it. And if you want more conversations like this one, psychology that takes the way you experience the world seriously, subscribe, because that is exactly what this channel is here for. The next video is for people who have never fully felt at home anywhere, not in places, not in rooms, not even sometimes in their own lives. If that has ever been you, I think you already know you need to watch it.